Welcome inside TCO Studios. I'm Tatum Everett, and this is Pick 6 presented by KFAN, where we answer your fan questions. We are deep into training camp, so you had a lot of questions for our experts, players, and coaches, but we're kicking things off with a special guest this week. Nate Burleson was in town. The former Vikings wide receiver, now turned sports broadcaster, gets this question from Ashley in Anoka. She wants to know, what game are you eyeing the most on the Vikings 2023 season? Let's hear from Nate.
Ashley, what's up? I'm looking at, I think it's week 2, Thursday night, Vikings-Eagles. Doesn't get any better than that, right? The biggest test of the season right out the gate. We know that the offense can put up points, but with a lot of questions that the defense had last year, now it's time for them to all put it together up against the most explosive team. And it's going to be a healthy Eagles team right early in the season. You got Jalen Hurts, dual threat. You got a wide receiver duo and A.J. Brown and the Slim Reaper. They're going to be cooking, tight end play, offensive line. Of course, they got the running back. So great test for the defense and the offense. It should be an explosive one.
Thanks, Nate. Always great to see you here in Minneapolis, and looking forward to catching you on NFL on CBS. Another former Vikings wide receiver answers the next question. This time, Roll Tide wants to know, what do you think will be Jordan Addison's biggest adjustment playing alongside Justin Jefferson? Well, Hall of Famer Chris Carter takes this one.
Well, there's a number of adjustments Jordan Addison is going to have to make coming from college football to pro football. The number one thing is, this is going to be the first time as a wide receiver that he's not the best wide receiver on the team since he's been playing football. If you look at his college career, Pittsburgh, Biletnikoff winner, USC, still one of the best receivers in college football, and now on the team with Justin Jefferson and KJ Osborne, and we also got a nice tight end. So not being the featured guy is the biggest adjustment besides the speed of the game.
Thank you, Chris, and congratulations on your 10-year anniversary into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Moving on to question number 3. This is from Stephanie Churchill. She wants to ask one of the players, what do you do in the evening after a day of training camp to recover and prepare for the next day? We found rookie quarterback Jaron Hall to answer her question.
Hi, Stephanie. I have a pretty good regimen I try to keep to after every day's practice to kind of recover and get ready for our next day. So I like to go right in the training room after, or the weight room actually. I do a couple stretches, some body mobility work, kind of flesh out some of the work from the day and that practice. And then we'll have meetings, we'll have rookie meetings, then we'll be out of the building. I'll go home back to the hotel. They'll give us a snack for food. I'll go over the script for the next day, call out some plays, and then study the install that we'll have. So a couple things for the brain, a couple things for the body. Just try to get everything feeling good. So that's my recovery, and that's my my prep for the next day's practice.
Thanks, Jaron. It sounds like you've got your routine down. I'm sure it also helps having Kirk Cousins and Nick Mullins in your QB room to learn from. Moving on to question number 4, it's from Alexander Flick. His question is, with a blocking tight end in Josh Oliver, all-arounder TJ Hawkinson, our beloved fullback CJ Ham, and a bruiser in Alexander Madison, how much more are the Vikings looking to get into 21 personnel this season? NFL Network's Tom Pelissero answers this question.
There's no question that they've added some talent on that side of the ball. It's not some of the same names that people are used to hearing around here, but a guy like Josh Oliver, it's a big deal because he's a 270-pound inline blocker who also, if you catch people in play action sometimes, he can win just because he's such a big body out there at the tight end spot. So him and TJ Hawkinson, they're vastly different players. Both can be listed as the same position, but they play 2 totally different spots. And then Jordan Addison coming in as well, that's going to be huge for them because everything I've heard about him so far in the building, he's been really good. If he makes a mistake on the field, he's able to clean it up quickly. Now, he's going to have a different skill set than, let's say, an Adam Thielen, but in terms of his route running, that was something that Kevin O'Connell and company thought was an elite trait for him. So you put him out there with Justin Jefferson, with KJ Osborne at times as well. I would anticipate that they're going to mix up the personnel groups, and that's going to make them that much harder to defend.
Thanks, Tom. So many weapons at KOC's disposal. And we'll stay on that topic for our next question. 50-year Vikings fan wants to know, how does the offense benefit from practicing against a stronger defense than we had last year? Sky Sports' Neil Reynolds answered this one during his recent visit to training camp.
I think it can be that whole classic iron sharpens iron situation. I think Brian Flores is going to be very aggressive on defense. That's going to put Kirk in some pressure situations that he has to deal with in training camp and in practice. And I think that's going to translate onto Sundays. And yeah, this is still an offense loaded with talent. So I think they're going to benefit against that defense, but they're still going to be a great offense.
Thank you, Neil. And it's funny, KOC just mentioned the iron sharpens iron motto the other day in his press conference, and that has to do with the receiver room as well, which leads us to our final question of Pick 6. It's from Lane, and he wants to ask, how do you think KJ can complement JJ this season as he vies for the wide receiver 2 spot? Lead NFL analyst for the Monday Morning Quarterback, Albert Breer, takes this one.
Well, I think KJ and Jalen Nailor both really benefited from the time JJ was away in the spring because they got so much opportunity to play in different spots. And I think for KJ specifically, that means really being able to be an inside-out player, which will help Kevin get him open. You know, I think early in his career, he's been a lot more of a slot player because you have Justin, because you have Adam, and so it's easier to keep a young guy's role like that static. I'd expect they're going to do a little more with KJ, which would help him from a production standpoint.
Thanks, Albert. That wraps up this edition of Pick 6. As always, to submit your questions, you can find them on Twitter. You can follow @Vikings or @Tatum Everett. We hope to see you around training camp as we have night practice this week, a preseason game against Seattle, and of course on the weekend, we hope to see you guys out here at TCOPC. Thanks for tuning in.